So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my Google Pixel 5 full review. Now we're just going to begin by talking about the key specifications to bring you up to speed. We do have a 6.0 inch, so it's a 6-inch 10080 by 2340 pixel display, so 1080p display on here. A 16 megapixel ultra wide makes its debut for the Google Pixel 5 here, and in addition to that, we do have a 12.2 megapixel AI camera that Google's been using for years, but they improved the software once again, so you do have really good camera overall. 8 gigabytes of RAM on here, and also we do have a Snapdragon 765G chipset with a 4080 milliamp hour battery, so the battery is pretty sizable for the screen size and the body that you do get here. Now, I want to mention that you can get this phone for $699. You can also pre-order it now. You should get it early November if you do decide to pick it up. Let's talk about my experience with the body and the build. So the body and the build of this phone has been comfortable. I'm going to show you around the body a little bit. You can see flat camera design here, not super flat, but it's not that thick either. It barely comes off the body. We do have a power button on the right side, volume rockers right here, and they're in a pretty good location. It's pretty comfortable to reach these. Also, hitting the volume rockers, also very good separation, so you have no issues there. On the back, you'll see the fingerprint sensor has gesture ability. Also, I will state that this biometric sensor is very fast and very convenient right now with masks. If you're wearing a mask right now, you don't have to worry about anything with the hands, because you're not wearing a mask on your hands. You're not wearing gloves probably, so you shouldn't have any issues with unlocking this phone. They did get rid of the sensor, which uses face, but also I find it very comfortable, easy to use. The overall body of this phone just ergonomically just feels beautiful. The size of it, I mean, it weighs only 151 grams. The thickness on this phone is only around 8 millimeters thick. It's IP68 rated. Has an aluminum back that feels kind of like a polycarbonate feel. A beautiful sort of sage color. Aluminum frames around this thing. Yes, some people have been complaining there's gaps in their phones, but just return it to get a new one if that's your problem. I haven't had this issue whatsoever with this. Mine is perfectly sealed together. On the left side, you can see the SIM card tray on the left. A G logo down here, just giving you a clean look overall on the Google Pixel 5. I've just really been enjoying holding this phone in the hand. I think it feels super comfortable and more comfortable than almost any Android phone I've tested this year. Now, we're going to talk about the next thing, which is the display quality. So again, 90 hertz, but because Google did optimize this phone for both hardware and software, this device actually feels smoother than some Android phones with 120 hertz. I know some people aren't going to agree with me, but at the same time, I'm telling you, the software on here just seems better optimized. So you can barely even tell the difference. One thing I will say I want Google to improve on is the nits of brightness. It just doesn't get as bright as some other phones, but it's not bad. Like, you can still see it indoors, you can still see it outdoors, but I wish that the phone would get a little bit brighter. It's definitely noticeable when compared to other devices. Next up, if you go to adaptive modes here, you can see that in the color section, we do have boosted, natural, adaptive, and that really just gives you a really good ability to tweak the display how you want. Of course, you do have some amazing wallpapers for this phone that also have some fun abilities to go ahead and use that punch hole as a feature right there, so you can see all of these nice beautiful wallpapers there. And when watching video on the Google Pixel 5, it really is no problem. 143 grams, the first impression I got automatically is, and since we're watching a video, we'll talk about audio. The speaker right here is louder on the bottom. At the top, it's a little bit tinny, so Google can improve here. They could try to find a way to make the speaker at the top a little more full for making for a better audio experience. It's plenty loud, but I think that's an area where some other phones just sound a little more full than the Google Pixel 5. At the same time, I'm not really upset with it. There is no headphone jack. If you want that, you want the 4A. That one does have a headphone jack. We do have USB-C charging at the bottom. This also supports fast and wireless charging on board. So you can, even though this is not a glass back, you can wireless charge it, but it is a Gorilla Glass 6 on the front. I still think you should put a screen protector, as a lot of things that are abrasive and can still scratch your phone. You've probably seen that by watching some of the videos on Jerry Rig Everything, that even though you have these Gorilla Glass marketing terms, you still can scratch your display quite easily. And that brings me on to the software, because the Google Pixel 5 is running some of the latest, actually the latest software in the industry right here. We do have Android 11. If you go to system settings here, you'll see that they still have a lot of great Google Pixel features. So you have the ability to swipe that fingerprint sensor. You can quickly open the camera. You can also flip to the camera, like shake it for the selfie mode on here when you're in the camera. You can also do system gestures right here. You can also tap to check your phone, lift to wake, just smart things. Like somebody calls you, you flip to shut it up. Like, I mean, you just have a lot going on here with those gestures right there. But the rest of the software is bare bones Google, just like you would expect it. You also have up in here, you do have the battery share feature. If I turn that on, you can go ahead and place it down like this. Place your Google Pixel Buds 2020 on here, and you'll see they'll start to begin charging right there. You can see the light is on. It's a little bit hard to see because I have some bright light shining on this phone right here, but overall, I mean, just really a nice feature there. So I just think they've nailed it with the amount of features and the price point. You're getting a lot here. And that brings me on to talking also about just the overall Google feel. It just really hasn't changed much. You swipe over, you got the Google tray. In here, you got your apps A through Z. You have the amazing recording option on here where it does live transcribing and stuff like that. In addition, you could swipe from the corners for Google Search and Assistant. You have the search bar right here. I mean, it's through and through a Google experience on board. 3 years of software updates guaranteed. In addition to that, we're not only talking about Google software, but a Snapdragon 765G chipset. A lot of complaints, oh, it's $699. I can get the S20 FE. I can get other phones with 865s. Yes, you can do that. But if you want a lightweight, compact phone, you want a great camera where you don't really have to do much work, it just does the work for you and just gives you amazing shots every time. You just like the color, you like the design, the minimalism of the Pixel. There's still something to be said for this phone. My experience with the Snapdragon 765G has been just like a flagship processor. I haven't even noticed the difference. The only time you notice a difference is if you put it side by side with an 865 Plus. Some Samsung phones with a 120Hz display do look a little bit faster, maybe just because it has that 120Hz and it has 865 Plus. But this one right here, I played Call of Duty earlier today and it was no problem. The phone got a little bit warm, not toasty though, and I had no issues with the performance overall. The Snapdragon 765G, I didn't even think about it. That's how decent it was day to day. So I will report back on this later on in the year, see how it does do in the long haul, but I wouldn't be worried about it. Honestly, it's not something that I would not buy this phone for. Now, this also has 5G connectivity. Keep in mind it does support sub-6 and millimeter wave, but it depends on the carrier you're with if you're going to get the best 5G performance. I'm on T-Mobile, so I'm not able to experience the best 5G, but I also do get 5G performance, and it has been very fast and reliable. So the 5G in here actually works quite well. If you do live in a major city or you do have an area that supports 5G, I think you're going to be totally fine here with the Google Pixel 5. The next thing I want to talk about with this phone, going on to storage, 128 gigs at $699. iPhone 12, 64 gigs at $829. Enough said. You get a good value with storage at 128 gigs. And then that moves me on to battery life. I want to make this part quick because it's been pretty fun to use this battery. It gets through the day easily. It sips battery in standby. It has wireless charging and fast charging. So this is the battery experience that I had on the iPhone 11. It's a similar type experience. Wireless charging, fast charging, great battery life, great standby. You'll like it. The battery life is strong, actually stronger than some other Android phones. So if battery is what you care about, the Pixel 5 should be high on your list. Their decision to go with a 765, a big battery, a 1080p display, they nailed it with the software optimization. The battery is strong on the Google Pixel 5, strongest I've seen on any Pixel. That moves me on to the main camera of the Google Pixel 5. So you can see right here, we can take a photo. We also do have telephoto. We can back it out super wide. The phone just knows what to do. You don't have to do anything. It takes amazing photos every time. Better photos than OnePlus devices in my experience. Definitely comparable to Samsung phones as well. So it's right up there with the best in the industry. I think this might be the last time Google can use this sensor. I think they need to do a new sensor to even take over once again. And right now it's still doing pretty well. Also, I like in video, you have different stabilization options. You can lock the stabilization. You have active cinematic pans. You can do 4K 60 on this phone. You have panoramic, photosphere, lenses. We go to portrait modes. The portrait modes be crushing other phones on this device. It just knows what to do in portrait mode. In the night sight mode, it just crushes it in the camera. I mean, Google was a pioneer in night sight, night photography. They had it before iPhone had it. This is just an all-around good camera to use. Yes, you might miss out on telephoto. This thing doesn't zoom super far. It can go like 7x. Other phones can do like 100. You can do 50 on some Samsung devices. So, Google could add a third lens, make this thing zoom 30x, 20x, whatever. Just give it some more zoom to really crush the competitors there. But the camera overall, I'm really feeling it. Take a look at some of my samples. Decide for yourself if this is going to be the one for you. Okay guys, so here is a test sample with the Google Pixel 5, the video quality that you can expect to receive from the front camera. What I'm noticing on this first impressions is that the angle is kind of close to the face, so you're going to probably need something to pull it out a little bit further like I just did there. Luckily I have really long arms, so there was no issue. But this is the front facing camera. Now I want to test out the video when running from the front. You can see it's kind of how it looks from the front when running, so not bad for the Google Pixel 5. All right guys, so here we go. I do have the zip line right here. I'm gonna go ahead and go down it on the Pixel 5 to give you a great test of stabilization. There's no way this is stable. Let's go. Oh my. Oh, all right guys, so I'm on a swing now. I got on here to give you a look at the stabilization and the wide angle. I'm going to jump off this swing any moment now. I'm getting some more lift here. Okay, and here we go. So you can see pretty good stabilization. Okay guys, this is a test of the active heavy stabilization on the Google Pixel 5. I actually gave you an example of what you can expect on the Google Pixel 5. That brings me on to phone call quality and connections. Now, some earlier Pixel renditions, I wasn't very happy with their phone call quality reception. They didn't do well. That was specifically the Panda. I think it was the Google Pixel 2 XL. I wasn't really feeling the phone call quality there, but this one, strong performance in both 5G and connectivity. No issues really with sending text messages, making phone calls, and also doing anything like, anything where I have to use the internet. It's been snappy and quick and reliable. It's the hyperspeed helper, as Google put it on the invitation card for reviewing this phone. I think it does live up to that. And that brings me on to my final conclusion of the Google Pixel 5. I'm happy with it. It's comfortable size. It has great battery life. It sips in standby. It has a good enough screen. Yes, I wish it was a little brighter. 5G works pretty well. I mean, 5G is still limited. I'm pretty confident this phone will last a few years, definitely. And I definitely like that it's not a glass back. It doesn't attract fingerprints. It looks minimal. It just feels solid. It's a solid, well-rounded smartphone. And if you like the Google Android experience and you want it super clean, you want your fast updates, you should take a look at the Google Pixel 5. I think you will really like this one. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want to see going forward on the Google Pixel 5. I'm going to do some comparisons and speed tests to other phones coming soon. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, and peace.